You're listening to the City World Radio Network, high-definition digital radio broadcasting from the city to the world. www.cityworldradio.com.
It's a marvelous night for a moon dance with the stars up above in your eyes. A fantabulous night to make romance neath the cover of October skies. You know the leaves on the trees are falling to the sound of the breezes that blow. You know I'm trying to please to the calling of your heartstrings that play soft and low. You know the night's magic seemed to whisper and hush. You know the soft moonlight seems to shine in your blush. Can I just have one more moon dance with you, oh, my love? Can I just make some more romance with you, oh, my love? Well, I wanna make love to you tonight. I can't wait till the morning has come. Yet I know now the time is
Nasceu dia quando o vento molia e o céu mais prolongava. Namorada de veleiro no peito do marinheiro que estando triste cantava.
I'm so blue. Well, I'm so lonely, lonely for you. I don't know what to do. Please, my baby, I'm so lonely. Darling, what am I gonna do? I'm so lonely for you.
Supper. And if she had any left over, she'd dry it out and smoke it. But she did all right. Now down in Louisiana, where the alligators grow so mean, there lived a girl that I swear to the world made the alligators look tame. Poke salad and it. Salad and everybody said it was a shame, 'cause her mama was a wicked on a chain.
was headed rock and roll, rock on. And where do we go from here? Which is the way that's clear. Still looking for that blue jean baby queen, prettiest girl that I ever seen. See her shaking on a movie screen. Jimmy Dean,
James Dean.
she took my heart away. She said I had it coming to me, but I wanted it that way. I think that any love is good loving, so I took what I could get. She looked at me with big brown eyes and said, "You ain't seen nothing yet, baby. You just ain't seen nothing yet. Here's something that you never will forget, baby. You just ain't seen nothing yet. Nothing yet. You ain't been around."
Now just see what I could see. Streetcars rolling by and airplanes flying high. They all meant nothing to me. No one ever looked my way or knew that I was there. I kept walking and the rain kept raining until all the streets were bare. Ooh, feeling
No use leading with our chins. This is where the story ends. Never lovers, ever friends. Goodbye. Let our hearts call it a day. But before you go away, You can light up the dark. Try as I may, I could never explain what I hear when you don't say a thing. The smile on your face lets me know that you need me. There's a truth in your eyes saying you never leave me. The touch of your hand says you catch me if ever I fall. You say it best when you say nothing at all.
And so ends another music medley on Mia's World. Welcome to my world. Welcome to Mia's World and City World Radio Network. Welcome to my engineer slash singer songwriter Jade Zabrich. Hi, Jade.
Hi.
Jade's playing. Jade's going to be on Manhattan.
Yep, Manhattan Neighborhood Network tonight at 11 o'clock. If you have a Manhattan Spectrum, it's channel 56, or you can go online, mnn.org.
Perfect. And then you're at the bitter end, the legendary bitter end this
Yeah,
week.
actually, no, I got the
Nope.
date wrong.
Ah.
I'm going to be there on the 31st, which is next Thursday.
Perfect.
Yeah, but I'm also going to be pianos this Saturday, 7 o'clock. That's the big show, pianos. 7 o'clock.
Okay. Jade Zabrich, welcome to my world. And also tonight, I have a very special guest who's calling in from upstate New York, Chrissy Beckles, who founded the SATO project and rescues these abandoned dogs in Puerto Rico. What a compassion, what a commitment. So I'm so excited, Chrissy, that you're calling in. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Just so that my listeners know that we do this music medley every week pretty much based on who was born that today's date, or the date that we're doing the show, today being July 23rd. And so here's what we heard. First, of course, we heard my traditional weekly theme song, Moonlight in Vermont, my favorite standard based on the moon. And this week is a big moon week because it's the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11. If you're not under a rock, then you cannot help but have heard about the anniversary of Apollo 11 and Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong. And what a crazy... You're too young to remember this, Chrissy, but I certainly remember it, and quite an amazing...
I was a twinkle in someone's eye, I think, at that point.
Well, we heard Moon Dance by Van Morrison because of the whole moon scene this week. And then we heard Amália Rodrigues. I love these Portuguese fado songs. She's a Portuguese fado singer born in Lisbon in 1920 on July 23rd. Then we heard the great pianist, educator, composer Billy Taylor, born July 24th, 1921, with Cole Porter's Night and Day. Then the American pianist and conductor Leon Fleischer, born on July 23rd, 1928, with Chopin Nocturne, Opus 27, number 2. Followed by Steve Lacy, the soprano saxophonist playing Duke Ellington's Daydream. And Gary Stites, the American rock vocalist, with Lonely for You, which hit the number 24 Billboard in June 1959. But Gary was born in 1940 on July 23rd. Then we heard Chrissy Beckles' pick. One of her favorites is Sia, and that was Big Girls Cry. You heard that one, right, Chrissy? And then,
I did.
Yeah. And then we heard Radiohead. That's at 7 o'clock is my usual show, but we had an extra show tonight because Chrissy was calling in. So my next guest at 7 o'clock is the Israeli guitarist Nadav Lev, and he picked Radiohead, so that was no surprises. Then we heard the American singer Madeleine Bell, born July 23rd, 1942, with Can't Get Used to Losing You. And then Tony Joe White from Polk Salad Annie, love that, American rocker, born on 1943. July 23rd. Then Dino Danelli, the American rock drummer from Photomaker and Young Rascals with Groovin', born 1944. Then we heard my guest Nadav Lev playing in Flow My Tears by the English composer John Dowland. Happy that there's a lot of English music because Chrissy is from Manchester, England. So we incorporated a lot of English music here in your honor, Chrissy. Andy McKay, the English rock saxophonist, he was born in 1946 on July 23rd with Green and Gold. And then the English rock vocalist and actor David Essex, born 1947 with Rock On. The Canadian rock guitarist Blair Thornton, born July 23rd, 1950, with You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. The Canadian singer-songwriter from Painted Ladies with Ian Thomas, born in 1950. And then the American jazz singer from Manhattan Transfer, Janice Siegel, born July 23rd, 1952, with I Wish You Love. The English rocker from Depeche Mode, Martin Gore, born 1961, July 23rd, Just Can't Get Enough. Slash, otherwise known as Saul Hudson, the English-American rock guitarist from Guns N' Roses, with Sweet Child of Mine, born today, 1965. Sam Waters from Color Me Bad with I Want to Sex You Up, born July 23rd, 1970. The American singer from Destiny's Child, Michelle Williams, born July 23rd, 1980, Believe in Me. And finally, one of my favorite singers of all time, American bluegrass musician Alison Krauss, born today, 1971, with When You Say Nothing at All. A couple of other July 23rd birthdays who are not musicians. William Gillette, the American actor, played Sherlock Holmes on stage, born in 1853. The American film producer from Warner Brothers, Albert Warner, born in 1884. The British-American mystery writer, another Brit, Raymond Chandler, born in 1888. Another British TV announcer, Arthur Treacher, born in 1894, famous for the Merv Griffin's show. Vera Rubin, the American astronomer who discovered dark matter, born in 1928. Don Drysdale, the American MLB player from the LA Dodgers. Don Drysdale, born in 1936. The American radio DJ Don Imus, born in 1940. American TV weatherman Spencer Christian, born in 1947. The Chinese-American news anchor Katie Tong, born in 1950. The American actor who sadly died way too young in 2014, Philip Seymour Hoffman, born in 1967. The comedian Marlon Wayans of the Wayans Brothers, 1972. Monica Lewinsky, famous American White House intern, now doing lots of anti-bullying work, born in 1973. And Daniel Radcliffe, the Harry Potter English actor, 1989.
Yay. Big Harry Potter fan. Big
All right.
Harry Potter fan.
Yay for Chrissy and Harry Potter and Daniel Radcliffe. And he's 30 today, only 30. I know. Today's date in history. In 1829, William Austin Burt patents the American first typographer or typewriter. Thing of the past, but I love those typewriters. In 1929, the fascist government in Italy bans the use of foreign words. July 23rd, 1962, Telstar transmitted the first publicly transmitted live transatlantic TV program featuring Walter Cronkite. In 1966, Frank Sinatra's album Strangers in the Night is #1 on the U.S. charts. And in 1984, Vanessa Williams became the first American to resign when she surrendered her crown after nude photos of her appeared in Penthouse magazine. Today's fun holidays. It's Gorgeous Grandma Day. If you have a grandma, she's gorgeous. Call her up. It's Hot Enough for You Day. It's National Vanilla Ice Cream Day. And it's Yada 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 Day. If anybody remembers, Seinfeld referred to was the yada yada was part of the creative inspiration for the establishment of the day. The yada yada was the 153rd episode in the series of Seinfeld, and it became one of the most famous Seinfeld episodes. There was a blah, blah, blah day, too. Okay, and now we have our rhyming wrap-up of the news, and then we're going to be talking to Chrissy Beckles, founder of the SATO Project. Okay, here we go. The heat wave in New York could practically melt a fork, trying not to get stuck on the subway. Pot luck. Instead, let's pop a cork. To celebrate the summer, just march to a different drummer. Get onto Twitter, but don't get too bitter, or else it's a Betty bummer. So now they're bigger than God, the foursome known as the Squad. They're very annoyed. Is there a real void, or is it just a facade? Seems like lots of hate. Is that our political fate? To rev up the ride, to split and divide the Dems with a heavyweight. Like Omar and AOC on a socialist spree. Are Americans ready for going steady with Green New Deal? Let's see. Are things getting more intense? In the Middle East, in suspense. Looks like Iran may have a plan for war. It's common sense. They're grabbing British ships. Are they saying, read my lips? Americans fearing that we're gearing up and not just for fish and chips. Guess who made her debut? None other than Ivy Blue. On the Lion King collab, nothing less than fab with Mom Beyonce. Woohoo! Guess who's the latest comic to make a comeback astronomic? Eddie Murphy, for real, as for his deal. 70 mil economic. Netflix is shelling out many millions, without a doubt. Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Amy Schumer, well, swell. Guess they've all got clout. The blackout shut down the pro, but leave it to J-Lo to one more time be sublime and do just one extra show. Entering the Hall of Fame as the greatest closer of the game, nope, not Ukrainian, yup, Panamanian, Mariano Rivera's his name. It's yada yada day, so blah blah your cares away. What could be duller than watching Bob Mueller? Now where is my Chardonnay? That's the Limerick rhyming wrap-up of the week to spark up the news. And now we have my call-in guest, Chrissy Beckles. Welcome, Chrissy, to Mia's World.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, well, Chrissy, you're quite an amazing human being, and it's such an honor to have you on. You were one of my colleagues referred me to you because he adopted a dog from the SATO Project, and the SATO Project is basically, I guess to wrap it up, is you're bringing abandoned and abused dogs to the United States from Puerto Rico. Is that right?
Yeah, to mainland U.S. from PR.
Right.
We're a registered 501c3 non-for-profit, and we rescue abused and abandoned dogs in PR. We work with the community to do spay, neuter, vaccine and educational efforts, and do all of our vetting on our rescues down in Puerto Rico, and then they get transported to New York for adoption.
It's quite a massive project. As we were talking over the music medley, we were saying, you're going down to Puerto Rico. First, let's start at the beginning. What is a SATO? What is the beginning? What is a SATO dog? From what I've read, they're mostly under 30 pounds. They have large ears. Most of them are terriers, and they're kind of known in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, so every Caribbean island has, these dogs that essentially have become indigenous to their island, and every single one has a differing name for them. And the name in Puerto Rico is SATO, or it basically means street dog or stray dog.
Uh-huh.
It's not a particularly endearing term.
Yeah.
One of the big goals of the organization, and certainly a personal goal for me, is to have the image of these dogs, for it to change and for them to become the national treasures of Puerto Rico that they should be.
Yeah,
absolutely. These dogs are revered when they're coming to New York. They've had celebrities adopt them. Uh-huh. They appear every year in Animal Planet's Puppy Bowl. We've had several of these Puerto Rican treasures, as we call them, that have been up for like MVP on Super Bowl Sunday, which is like most valuable puppy.
Right.
We had one puppy a couple of years ago, Brian Adams. That's the Puerto Rican puppy, not the Canadian rock star.
That's
that
wonderful.
Scored the first ever field goal on Puppy Bowl, and he was trending on Twitter on Super Bowl Sunday. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's great press.
They are incredible little dogs, and they come in all shapes and sizes. But yeah, the majority of them are around 25 to 30 pounds. They have short hair. They don't shed an awful lot. I would say 90% of them have terrier in them, so they're incredibly smart.
Yeah.
And they are survivors and have an unbelievable capacity to endure, but also to show love. You give these dogs the tiniest amount of kindness, and it gets they give it back to you a million times over.
Well, just one of many examples that's on your website, thesatoproject.org, by the way, SATO, thesatoproject.org, I was reading about Captain Will. Mm-hmm. Who lost
Yes, Captain Will with his was hit by a car and dragged, and unfortunately for him, fortunately for him, it happened like within kind of eyesight of one of our vet techs, who immediately rushed to his aid because sadly the car did not stop, and was able to bring him into one of the two clinics that we work at. He sadly did lose an eye. He was very banged up. His nose was pretty much red raw as well. But this dog,
Such a
despite
fighting
everything
spirit.
I mean, that's what is the big draw for me, and why I have at this point, dedicated my life to them. That they are such an inspiration to me.
Unbelievable.
These dogs.
And it's so ironic.
Yeah, his tail never stopped wagging. This little dog was amazing. He actually appeared. So Puppy Bowl is all about puppies, but last year they debuted Dog Bowl, which was for adult and senior dogs, and Captain Will was in Dog Bowl.
Unbelievable.
And made quite a splash.
Well,
So,
it's you yourself, Chrissy. You were a Golden Gloves finalist. You've had your nose broken. You know about
Golden Gloves champion.
Unbelievable.
I fought in Madison Square Garden 3 times. Got my championship. Broken my nose, I think 8 times at this point.
So you know what it's like to be knocked around, but not from a...
I know what it's like to be the scrappy little underdog that, has to keep on punching. And I always say, you put me in a corner and I come out swinging. So
and you're one of your...
that's why I feel such an empathy for
Right.
these amazing dogs. I really do. They are an incredible inspiration to me. When I'm training for a fight and I hate to do road work, I can run, an extra mile, or I can lift weights longer than I would normally endure, because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking I'm doing it for dogs like Captain Will. And dogs like, Sugar, this dog we rescued, who is our most expensive rescue to date. She cost me $20,000.
Oh, my God.
She had 3 destroyed legs and had multiple surgeries and took like a year to rehabilitate. But this dog runs like the wind now. This is a 50-pound dog with 3 destroyed legs. And I was told to humanely euthanize her, and her tail did not stop wagging. Oh. This is a dog that was in excruciating pain. And she had every reason to, growl and bite and snip, and she did not. Her tail just kept going a mile a minute. She knew that we were there to help her, and it has not stopped since.
That's unbelievably wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, and if you ask Marissa, who adopted her, sorry, that's my dog Basher making himself known. If you ask Marissa, who adopted her, she'd say this dog is worth more. She's priceless.
Unbelievable.
She's amazing.
It's totally just kudos to you for never giving up. I mean, one of your mottos is "We fight so dogs of Puerto Rico don't have to." And
yeah, we do.
And the other
literally,
is,
not figuratively. Really, I get in the ring and fight.
Yeah, literally. And another one of your mottos from Muhammad Ali is "Impossible is nothing." And certainly, you're fighting against the odds, but you're coming out swinging and really flourishing. I'm really amazed at what you're doing.
It's one of my all-time favorite quotes.
Well,
because it really is true. Impossible is nothing, and I am this scrappy little thing from Manchester that if you slam a door in my face, I'm going to kick it down.
And you are.
That's sometimes how things have to get done.
Well, I've read that the cost of the treatment is approximately $1,200 to $1,500 a dog. So how do you raise the money, get the money? Is it all volunteers? I know you've got partners like Tito's Vodka, Moroccan Oil, Annenberg, but how do you get the partners? How do you get the funding to keep going on?
So we, as a registered nonprofit, we have to fundraise to be able to exist and do what we do. And in the beginning, certainly even before the SATO project started, I did this on a volunteer basis. And it was basically myself and my husband that were, paying for everything. And for the first couple of years of the organization, it was the same thing. And then as you create awareness, and social media is a huge tool for us. People learn about you, learn about the organization, what we do. We have unprecedented vetting protocols that all of our rescues follow. We work with vets not only in Puerto Rico, but vets on the mainland that are experts in their field that help us, ensure that everything we're doing is we'll make sure that when we transport these dogs, then they are completely free of any communicable
Right.
diseases, and they are in the best possible health they can be in.
So
That's why our cost per dog is huge. We have an adoption fee of $500, but it doesn't go anywhere near to cover the costs of what we're spending on their vetting and vaccines,
Sure.
the cost to board them in Puerto Rico, and then you've got the logistics of flying them, to the mainland.
I know. It's like what I said before. You're a combination of logistics and organization and compassion, which is a hard combo to come by. But when you're going down, you're having a fundraiser on August 4th, I believe, in Rhinebeck?
Yes, I'm really excited about that. It came together very quickly. Hopefully it's going to be really successful. But the wonderful team at the Amsterdam in Rhinebeck, which is a fabulous restaurant, Chris and Howard, who are the owners, and the chef Chris, have they've been following our work, and they don't see me very often, but they have become great friends, and they wanted to do something to help us out. So Chef Chris is putting together a wonderful sit down meal, and Fletcher, the maitre d', is doing wine pairings, and there's a cocktail hour beforehand and some pretty nice gift bags from Moroccan Oil, and that's taking place on Sunday, August 4th. Starts at 5 o'clock, and you can get tickets on our website, thesatoproject.org. There are only a limited amount of tickets available. I think we set the number at 50, so once they're gone, they're gone. I will be there, and
you can meet the great Chrissy Beckles if you go.
We're right after that, I essentially leave, within a couple of days to go back to Puerto Rico.
And you're bringing back a couple of hundred dogs?
Flight, yeah. It's the biggest flight we have ever done of dogs. So as everybody knows, Puerto Rico got decimated by Hurricane Maria.
Yes.
It's going to be 2 years in September.
Right.
And we're still recovering over there. And what we have learned is that, September is a time of the year when ideally we don't want to have that many dogs in our program.
Big hurricane month.
Another natural disaster dog hit.
Right.
That way we can mobilize and help those animals that do need, to be given veterinary attention or to be transported. So we've, for the last couple of years, and we in fact did a big flight right before Hurricane Maria, but obviously didn't know it was going to happen. But ever since, we've done a flight in August ahead of September.
Right.
And we've got the biggest one we've ever done. That's going to be on. I'll be loading dogs onto 2 planes. We're working with Wings of Rescue, who are another non-profit organization. They are providing planes for us, and their pilots donate their time. And I think right now we're at 220 dogs that will be loaded onto 2 planes. One plane will be going to Nashville. So there will be SATOs going to the Nashville Humane Society.
Right.
And the other plane will be coming to New York. And, there's going to be a lot of SATOs arriving into the area on, it's going to be August 18th when they actually touch down.
So that's interesting because 18 is sort of a good luck number. I don't know if you know that. In Hebrew, 18 is chai, which means life. So you're giving life on the 18th to all these dogs, like is in L'chaim.
I will take any luck, anything I can get. Omens, luck, whatever.
I love it. Chrissy,
whatever is your thing, I'll need it that day.
We're pouring our positive energy in.
Big. Yeah.
Now I wanted
Send
to
it out into the universe.
I of course wanted to from Mia's world to the universe. I wanted to talk about Dead Dog Beach, which is called Playa Lucia, where I guess some of the island people just abandon their dogs and there's no food or fresh water there, and at night the dogs are used for target practice? Does that still happen?
Not so much anymore.
Because of FEMA?
No, because of the work that we've been doing on that beach for the past 13 years. We have dedicated, prior to Maria, that is the area that the SATO project concentrated our work on, and in conjunction with community outreach in the municipality of Yabucoa and a subsidized spay, neuter, vaccine and microchip program, we were, there was a light at the end of the tunnel. The amount of dogs that were being dumped was certainly, beginning to really, really decline.
Yeah, fantastic.
It got to a point where in August of 2017, we knew we'd built a successful model and we were looking to take it to kind of the next area. I mean, the first time I walked on that beach and for many years afterwards, there were hundreds of dogs running in packs. And, you walk on there today and you won't see any.
That's phenomenal.
The work that we've been doing. We petitioned the mayor of Yabucoa to have a security gate put up at one of the two entrances that's closed from 6 p.m. at night to 6 a.m. in the morning, and that stopped a huge amount of dumping going on. And then, sadly, Hurricane Maria hit, and it made landfall at Dead Dog Beach. And so that morning, I essentially saw all the work that we'd done. At that point, it was 11 years of work that we lost. It was heartbreaking.
Oh, my God.
And then we were just essentially in, we operated under, crazy conditions over there. I lost my home and everything I owned in Maria, so I was homeless.
Gosh.
My wonderful neighbors took me and my dogs in, and we lived with them for like a year while my house got rebuilt. But we had, there was no power. We didn't have power for 4 months. Some of my team didn't have power for 6.
How do the veterinarians, Chrissy? How do the veterinarians function with no power? I mean, not to mention regular hospitals.
They didn't for the first few months. So one of our clinics sustained, that is, within the Yabucoa municipality, they sustained a huge amount of damage. Sorry, my dog's going nuts because I think like the FedEx guy is here or something. And they're gonna get milk phones.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, they're like, hey, our buddy's here. So one clinic, Candelario Animal Hospital, sustained a huge amount of damage. Like they lost part of their roof. And then Clinica Mi Mascota, which is the other veterinarian that we work with.
Dr. Feliciano?
Clinica Mi Mascota, they're in Las Piedras, which is like 10 minutes away from Candelario. They were essentially working with headlamps and going back to old school bedding because they didn't have any power, and we flew in a generator to enable them to be able to get up and running a little bit. I mean, it certainly enabled them to run do x-rays. But for the first few months, it was like the Dark Ages. You're looking at blood under microscopes and things like that, and on glass slides to try and do any kind of diagnosis. It was really, really difficult. I mean, it was the longest blackout in, I think, definitely in U.S. history, and I think the second longest in the world.
Oh, my God. Well, it's even more incredible that you've come back from all that. I wanted to ask.
It's been a long
journey,
years, and it really has. And we kept going. We worked sometimes like 22-hour days. We're not a huge team. We have incredible volunteers, and wonderful donors and supporters that just came out in droves, and everybody was just asking, like, what can we do? How can we help? And
That's amazing.
enabled us to be able to operate at the level we were.
And the intensity of the community spirit and energy is really remarkable.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, did you grow up with dogs, or how did you get this
I
calling
did.
of yours?
Yeah, we'd always had dogs. I'm the only girl in my family. I have brothers, and my extended family, it's all boys, so I was a bit of a tomboy. We always had West Highland Terriers growing up, the little white.
Yes,
dogs.
yes. Adorable dogs.
So I've always had an affinity for terriers.
Yes.
They're tenacious and scrappy. And I have a Jack Russell now. And then horses. I was put on a horse when I was 2 years old and thought it was the greatest thing ever, and had no fear.
Wow.
So that was, I wanted to be a veterinarian, but I was bloody awful at biology and science. I really was. And I think the universe is punishing me in its perverse, crazy way that now I have to learn about all this stuff, and there's a big part of me that's like, I really do wish I had been better at the sciences. This might be a little bit more easy for me,
but you're doing such an incredibly noble thing that this must be your divine calling or something like that. I mean, it's just...
Certainly it was not planned. If you would have asked me 15 years ago what I would be doing, I don't think I would have said I would be spending the majority of my time in Puerto Rico. Essentially, I live there and rescuing dogs, but these dogs have changed my life, and I think they changed the lives of everybody that comes into contact with them. Yeah. And it's for the better. And
unbelievable.
It really has become it's my life's work now.
Two more questions, and then we may have to fade out here. But it's terrible to leave you. I love talking to you. Who is Esther? I read a lot about Esther on your team. Can you talk?
Esther is
Queen
in
Esther.
charge of our transportation. Esther is a woman who, if you will drive anywhere, as long as there's a Cracker Barrel en route. We need sponsorship from Cracker Barrel, because Esther, I think, is their greatest customer. But she is amazing. She is one.
I got to contact them.
Maybe a standing volunteer, and she fosters as well. But yeah, she comes to the airport, rain or shine. Yes, we had dogs fly in yesterday, and there was a huge storm at Newark, and they would not let anybody deplane for like 3 hours. The plane sat on the runway for 3 hours because it wasn't safe. And so, Esther and her team, goes to the airport as well. Elba Cruz, Pat, Marissa, we have these fantastic volunteers who are so dedicated to these dogs. So Esther is, she essentially lives in her car. She loves driving. She'll drive anywhere. She's amazing. As are all of our volunteers. I mean, they will be out in force on August 18th to receive all these, the dogs that are flying in.
Oh my God.
And we could not do what we do without them.
And what's happening? I just have another minute, but how is this current situation with the governor affecting your mission? And is it affecting you, or are you just plunging forward?
I mean, I love what is happening over there from the perspective of the island coming together and demonstrating peacefully. I think the world can learn a lot from it. I feel very proud when I see what happened yesterday, and it's on the front page of every newspaper, certainly every major newspaper in the U.S., and I think worldwide. And to me, that's what democracy is. These are the people that vote, and their voices need to be heard. Obviously, we concentrate on the dogs and doing what we can for them. So, but as the place I call home, I have my eye on what is going on, and I'm really proud of how everybody is conducting themselves, and just the fact that it is putting Puerto Rico back on front pages when it needs to be. They are still recovering down there, and this is part of the U.S., and people forget that.
I know.
They're American citizens.
Absolutely, and you are just an amazing part of this whole spirit of revival, renewal, saving such special animals with beautiful energy and heart and soul, and I think it's just a remarkable thing you're doing, Chrissy, and I hope I can someday be part of it and adopt one of your
Thank you.
dogs.
Well, you are always welcome to come and volunteer if you're around on August 18th. There's going to be there's a lot of pee, puke, and poop, but there's going to be some awfully cute dogs and puppies flying in. So if you want to come and get some puppy love and
I may
doggy
do
love
that
from some Puerto Rican treasures,
I may do that.
let me know, and I can definitely put you to work.
Okay, will do. And my guest on Mia's World has been the amazing Chrissy Beckles with the SATO Project, or the SATO Project, thesatoproject.org. And look her up, look up the dogs, look up their amazing energy and devotion. And we're going to go out of Mia's World with Amy Winehouse's Back to Black. Amy Winehouse, the amazing singer who died July 23rd, 2012, a mere 7 years ago. She died on July 23rd. So here's the amazing Amy Winehouse, Back to Black. And thank you again, Chrissy Beckles. Thank you for listening to Mia's World. Thanks to City World.
Thanks for
Network.
having me.
Thank you so much, Chrissy. Have a lovely evening and a great event.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you so much.